Hello, this is the Film Film review for the film Antenna Farm. This was submitted as a digital short, as well as ASD, basically Autism Spectrum Disorders awareness categories. It's a short film, just under 20 minutes, and it was directed by Christopher Yates in the United States. Now, what is interesting about this film is it's very well rounded, it's very well completed in the narrative arc. You've got some wonderful characters played by some wonderful actors, and it is a very touching short film. The premise of the film is there is a young autistic boy who has an older brother who passes away very early on in the film, and they had an unfinished project about reaching through to aliens with an antenna device. And as the young boy is trying to complete this project, he feels he needs to go to a specific place that you would find out when you watch the film eventually, when it's available, to try to connect with higher levels of technology to this outer space place, and connect with, in his case, his deceased brother. So there's a lot of suspense and tension in the film. And what I really found touching was the depiction of the young boy and the way he went through his routines while coping with autism. The autism umbrella is quite wide, and basically the same diagnosis can affect different people in different ways. There are various levels and degrees, and in many cases there can be quite strong positive elements, but for the people who are the sufferers or the subjects themselves, that can be very diverse, and kids often tend to be solitary and have incredible focus power for whatever activity they choose to do that they enjoy. And I really felt that the whole autism effect was quite prominent with the young boy, and I think it was very nicely depicted with the character. I did feel suspense in the film. I did understand the motivations. There were a couple of little, I thought, script discrepancies that didn't quite make sense, and I noticed them, but they didn't really spoil my enjoyment of the film, which is a very interesting, realistic fantasy, if that makes sense. Technically the film works very nicely, it's very clean, it's very polished, it's got a very good quality to it, it's got a very high standard to it, and I think the message that it portrays for a general audience is very strong, especially for people who perhaps are on the spectrum themselves or know someone who is, because if you don't understand the spectrum, you might not understand the motives of this of the behaviour of this young boy. So anyone who does understand them will empathise on multiple levels, and I think Christopher really managed to nail different levels of sensitivity, and therefore multiple people would understand or would empathise with this young boy and his objectives. Yes, there were a couple of things that weren't quite realistic enough for me as an audience, but given the overall nature of the story and the overall power of the emotions and the acting, which I thought was really great overall throughout, I didn't mind some little things I noticed, and I really took the picture as a whole, and I was on the journey from minute one. I enjoyed it, and I really, I was on the ride, and I thought it was a really wonderfully made short film. So wonderful job, Christopher. Thank you very much for submitting it. The film is not getting screened at the festival because we were among the first film festivals to appreciate it and to accept it, and other film festivals are more rigorous with their premiere status. Nevertheless, I think it was a privilege for me to watch the film, for me to understand the characters and to feel involved, and it goes without saying, I've really enjoyed giving it this review because there is so much great stuff to get out of this film. So well done, keep producing, keep creating, and keep making a difference to all audiences, and audiences who understand things like the autism spectrum. So thank you very much.